if you don't got this watch, I'm not beefing with anybody from New York if you don't got this watch. If you don't got this watch right here, you a little boy to me. I'll kiss you on your forehead. You a little boy. Sit down. King's home. It's over. It's over. Y'all got, and I get it. If you got one Richard Mille, this all mine. You know, I'm fronting and get whatever.
Flip slash Lumi Blorb, Gnocchi du Vorp, Exoluslum, Leonard Bleib. Schmom Mimignagen Knorps, Jigagat Semushu, Egu Ugum, Suzu, Pula Bubu.
Yes, what are you saying, bro? Whoa! Do that again? Oh shit! Do that again?
Nah, bro, what the fuck? They gave me Minecraft corn. What the fuck?
Egg.
I can see!
Can I tickle your penis till you fart? What? I said, y'all trying to play some basketball?
Good, bitch.
You know, my husband may have beat the fuck out of me a couple nights ago, but he also took me to a really fancy steakhouse and I had an absolute bangin' filet. So, you know, all of the abuse was worth it and I'm a little happier today.
Hi sisters, James Charles here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna eat my own ass on camera.
In water, chimps will drown.
ธงชาติและเพลงชาติไทยเป็นสัญลักษณ์ของความเป็นไทยเราจงร่วมใจยืนตรงเคารพธงชาติด้วยความภาคภูมิใจในเอกราชและความเสียสละของบรรพบุรุษไทย
Tits! We're almost there, Freeman. Get yourself in position.
Hey, Lois!
What?
Ah la 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 yeah yo. Ah la 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 yeah yo. We're getting Arab money. What? We're getting Arab money. Ah la la yeah yo. Ah la wow wow wow. Chester Stone getting Arab money, bitch. Arab money, nigga. Assalamu alaikum.
And now, for something rather unconventional, I shall enjoy myself.
No, who the fuck? Whoa! This guy's jerking himself off! Turn it off! This guy's jerking himself off on the fucking radio! Jesus Christ! Who approved that? Who approved that?
Uh-oh. There's the phone.
Don't!
I'm walking towards the phone.
No!
I'm getting closer to the phone. And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for.
I'm begging you!
Hello. I'd like to speak to...
me up, bitch, you gon' tell on me.
8, 7, 2, 1, 3, 5, 4, 4, 9, 7, 9, 2, 7, 5, 9, 3.
Name, please.
My name is Yolanda. Yolanda.
Mother of Christmas Eve! What the fuck? Damn it!
Get down.
I don't want to die. I swear to God, I don't want to die.
Bingo!
Said that she could do this in real life with her sense of smell. And there are other mechanics as part of being Helen Keller, but they're self-explanatory. So with that, let's get into it. Or, as Helen Keller would say,
Attack the D-point!
I'm sipping on promethazine. I can't put down the cup.
It's really fucking simple. I wouldn't recommend shooting at me because your gun goes pew pew, but my fucking gun goes.
You're being intentionally dense?